Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. All right, I'm very delighted to have my good friend Lynn Fisher on from Baker Communications. He's in today for Walter Rogers. How are you, Lynn?
Good morning, Kevin. How are you, sir?
Hey, glad to have you on. Hey, let's talk real quickly about you have a great message out there that you're trying to get out there on the performance and really taking almost an athletic view when it comes to the way you conduct your business. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Kevin, there's a lot of metaphors in life that are able to teach us, the best practices and give us insights into, different areas of life. And one of those things is, how do we create a high-performance business athlete? And, some of today's best-known brands may be thought of as high-performance cultures, and those organizations are actually able to demonstrate consistently the ability to produce results and stay on top of their markets. Companies like Apple, GE, Dell, Capital One, they're all able to create these cultures and allow their human resource to explode with creativity and productivity. And, these companies have really figured out how to develop high-performance business athletes that are able to grow and flourish. The question is, how do they do it?
Yeah, that is a good question, and I'm sure you're going to give us some insight.
You bet. So, applying these metaphors, I've been an athlete, since I was a young boy, and what I've noticed, over the years of my discipline training and competing is that successful business pros have a lot in common with high-performance athletes. We could talk about this for hours on end, but there's two things I want to focus in on, which is the characteristics of a high-performance business athlete and what does a high-performance organization look like. So the first thing we want to talk about is what is this athlete's characteristics, right? And there's three areas. There's before the game, during the game, and after the game. And quite clearly, high-performance athletes have a clear vision and a goal. They are completely committed to preparing for the game, and, that includes practice. As you know as well as I do, you win the game on the practice field. Next, they often gain competitive intelligence about the competition. They're always seeking to find out how's the other team preparing to win. And then based on that intelligence, they develop a game plan to figure out how to overcome their strategy and develop their own game plan to win the game. So there's many other areas of focus where you're looking to enhance the skills that you have around your game plan. I'll give you an example, like mixed martial arts. If someone has strengths in one area and weaknesses in others, you have to shore up your weaknesses to be able to perform against your competition. During the game, you want to stick to the game plan and execute it. You also want to be able to adjust and adapt and overcome. A lot of times when you go in with game plan, as you well know, you got to change what's happening and adapt to what you're faced with. So during the game, you also want to focus on commitment to the outcome. A lot of times you get in the middle of a sales call or middle of working with a customer and you completely lose your focus on your outcome. It's really critical to stay, focused on what your outcome is and how to actually get there.
Yeah, and we're having a little problem there with you tonality-wise. Hopefully we can make that adjustment. But that's exactly true. What happens for a lot of businesses or those, athletes, if you will, is that they find themselves involved in the ritual of doing it, but they forgot why they were doing it.
Exactly. And, every single game, every single competition or opponent is different. So you really have to, rethink, re-strategize, and commit yourself to the outcome and drive towards it. And, one of the things as an athlete we all, respect and admire is when you think you can't continue or when you think somebody's about to quit, the business pro, that high-performing athlete digs deep and keeps going. So, you always got to remember, if you feel like you're losing the battle, remember you haven't lost the war. You just have to keep going. And so finally, after the game, what you want to learn is what are the things that helped me either win or what kept me from winning. So, you've got to relive the game mentally and adjust for the next one. High-performing athletes always take a look at their last competition, and they're looking for every ounce of opportunity to make adjustments to increase their productivity and their advantage. So if you lose, recognize the value of your loss and learn from it. If you win, find ways to continue the energy and emotion and identify why you won and exploit those strengths.
Yeah, it's a great, simple cliche, but just do it. As it really kind of epitomizes. Cricket Walker, good comment there at priceofbusinesstv.com. You should join the chat as well. Also, she asked a question. When you look at some of these some of these leaders here, she was interested to find out what kind of role social networking is playing in transforming these athletes.
Yeah, well, you know what? Social media is really, I break it down this way. Social media and the social media technologies is really propels and accelerates your access to expertise, to customers, to systems and tools. It really is just another tool set in the high-performing business athlete's tool chest. And it really has a place, but the fact is that the high-performance business athlete is mostly a factor of mental preparedness, having a game plan, and executing against that game plan consistently. And so the last thing that I wanted to touch upon, Kevin, is what does a high-performance culture look like? What's the right environment needed to grow and sustain these high-performing business athletes? And the first and most important thing, in my opinion, is you need organizational alignment. And what that means is that you start with the end in mind. What business result must we accomplish as an organization? Then what type of business processes are needed to help support and drive those resources to get to that end result? And the next thing you want to look at is what systems and tools are in place to help support and automate that process? And then finally, where the rubber meets the road for the actual athlete themselves is what kind of competencies and skills do I need to have in order to accomplish my outcome? And then finally, what it really boils down to is the psychology. What behaviors, what winning behaviors must I exhibit in order to win? And so when you get that alignment going, you've created this environment where a high-performing professional can actually flourish and grow.
Yeah, great conversation with Lynn Fisher. He's with Baker Communications, and love to have him on, or Walter, and their phenomenal guests that they bring on to the program. Kind of give us a summation real quickly of some of the things that differentiate the successful athlete, if you will, versus the one who doesn't pull it off.
Well, like I said before, looking back at some of the characteristics, of a high-performing business athlete, it's, before the game, it's about being prepared. A lot of people who feel like they're really have a strong sense. Let's just take a salesperson. You take an overconfident salesperson, they go into a sales call, and they really haven't got a game plan. They're just in there winging it because they feel like they can adapt and adjust. But the fact is that you need a strong game plan that you can adapt and adjust from in order to win. So being prepared is certainly one thing. The second thing is recognizing your strengths and weaknesses. A high-performing business athlete is going to, go through a process where they're playing the game to their strengths. And everybody says, well, you need to emphasize your strengths and downplay your weaknesses, or strengthen your weaknesses. I'm of the thought that it's about strength management. Focus on your strengths. Of course, you're going to have a few weaknesses, but don't try to be everything to all people. Know what you got to do.
Yeah.
And then, a lot of times, a person will not adjust and adapt or overcome. They get so myopically focused on their game plan that they lose sight of what the customer is telling them, or their objective is telling them, that they need to make some changes. So there's a number of characteristics that it's all about blocking and tackling, the fundamentals of good preparedness, having passion during the game, and understanding once you either won or lost, what can we learn from it to be better in the next go-around?
Lynn Fisher is his name. Baker Communications is his company, and they are leaders, of course, in sales and customer relations management and training. And we're delighted to have you with us today, and as always.
Appreciate that, Kevin. Appreciate it.
You bet. All right, when we come back, by the way, you can get more information about Baker Communications. I would encourage you to visit bakercommunications.com. They've got incredible resources, great case studies, great information on how they work, and boy, do they work. And they work with some of the largest companies in the world, as well as some of the up-and-coming companies as well. Thanks, Lynn.
You bet, Kevin. Thanks for having me today.
You bet. All right, I'm Kevin Price. When we come back, we're going to have a lot more for you right here on Talk 650, powered by CBS Radio.